President Obama held a lengthy news conference today and discussed, among many other things, what would happen if Congress fails to increase the debt ceiling.
If congressional Republicans refuse to pay America's bills on time, Social Security checks and veterans benefits will be delayed. We might not be able to pay our troops or honor our contracts with small business owners. Food inspectors, air traffic controllers, specialists who track down loose nuclear materials wouldn't get their paychecks.
The Post's Zach Goldfarb is here to explain just which checks might not be sent in the event we exceed our borrowing limit. Good to see you.
Hi.
So I know this is largely a topic of speculation, but what do we know about the day after or the week after we go over the debt limit, and whether Social Security checks might not really go out, contractors might really not be paid?
Well, it's fairly uncharted territory. What we know is that we only get enough in tax revenue each day, each month, to cover about 60% of our costs. So starting a few days after we hit the debt limit, if Congress doesn't raise it, we will only be able to pay for about 60% of what we need. And so Congress, and the President will face a very difficult set of choices about what to pay. And as he suggested today, it's very likely that at least some Social Security checks won't be paid. It's likely that some veterans won't be paid. It's likely that a good chunk of what we pay each day won't be paid. So the last time we dealt with this was in 2011, and the Treasury looked into what it would do, began to think about it because we got so close. And basically they tentatively decided that they would pay for any given day's payments when they had enough money. And until that point, they would just withhold all payments. They decided they probably couldn't prioritize some payments in front of others, so it basically would be you wait till there's enough money in the federal coffers to pay a given day's payments, you pay it, and then you wait again. And that's because even though we can't borrow anymore, the Treasury still receives tax revenue each day because of payroll tax receipts and your withholding.
So people wouldn't get a reduced check, they would get their full check later than they were supposed to.
That's probably right. No one knows for sure, and it would be really uncharted territory, so we can't say with certainty, but that's probably right.
And we can say with certainty that there won't be enough money to pay all our obligations, so do we have a sense of which ones would be prioritized, or who's asking to prioritize what?
Well, some Republicans who are in favor of a brinksmanship strategy around the debt limit do want prioritization, and they say, well, we can afford if we just choose to pay only our Social Security checks, only our interest to foreign countries on the debt, and only a few other things. We can afford that, and we can cut government spending overnight then by 40%. But it seems a tall order, and what the Obama administration tentatively decided, according to an Inspector General's report about this period in 2011, was that it couldn't really prioritize and would just have to pay, as I said earlier, a given day's obligations in sort of chronological order.
Given that there's even these discussions about, oh, we could do this or that, I wonder what the sense of urgency is at this point. Do people think it's a cataclysm if we go over the debt limit or not?
I think most people think that going over the debt limit without any kind of legislation to address what comes after is pretty much universally viewed as a cataclysm. The U.S. Treasury bond, which is our debt instrument, is the gold standard for the world economy. Basically, everything is based on the U.S. Treasury bond. And if there's some sort of uncertainty about whether you can park money with the U.S. safely, it's really unknown. It's really crazy to think about what that could mean. It would probably, if left unaddressed for more than a few days, could introduce a Lehman-like moment from 2008. It's just impossible to really fathom what a prolonged journey over the debt limit could mean.
And what do we know about the date? It's around March 1st?
Around March 1st. It really depends on the inflow of spending and tax revenues, but in general it's thought to be between the very earlier side, February 15th, but that's probably a little too early, to early March.
Okay, so a month or month and a half of this fun. Zach, thanks a lot.
Thank you.